Playback.
Oh my God, I'm on a soundtrack with Patti LuPone.
It's magical. It's a real magical experience.
Maybe an album can come out of this. Who knows?
Down the witch's road.
Am I supposed to know this song?
WandaVision had the Agatha All Along song. We needed another bop. We needed to bring the Lopez's back.
Freaking Lopez's. The music for Frozen, Coco, WandaVision, they're really, really good at their jobs.
The Witch's Road was the ultimate songwriting puzzle for us.
It needed to sound like it had been passed down through the generations.
But we also needed to hide secrets and clues inside the lyrics.
We had to come at it from all these different angles.
It's both a legend and a map.
The entire show is predicated on this ballad.
Oh, you have a real gift.
If I can't reach you.
Another piece of the puzzle was including the spirits, earth, water, fire, and air.
We hear it in several different versions.
From its earliest incarnations through crazy 70s pop.
Way we survive.
It really took on a life of its own when we heard the witches sing it.
Just blast me, you bitches!
What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television. I want to thank all of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing. For all those who have yet to subscribe, the march to 500 subscribers has begun or is continuing, depending on when you join us. But every comment, like, interaction with this channel helps us into the algorithm. So I hope today is the day that can earn your subscription. Today we're going to be getting into the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, premiering on Disney Plus a few days ago. New episodes are going to be released every Wednesday around 9 o'clock. They're sticking with the weekly episode release like classic television shows used to do. The first 2 episodes are entitled Seekest Thou the Road? The second episode is entitled Circle Sewn with Fate, Unlock Thy Hidden Gate. The cast, of course, is Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness, Joe Locke as Teen. We know that he's gearing up to be Wiccan in the show, but we'll get to why he's just known as Teen at the moment. Shazir Samata as Jennifer Kale. Aubrey Plaza as Rio Fidel. Oh, Aubrey, if you happen to see this, Aubrey Plaza, I will say that I'm willing to leave my life for you at any time. If you want me to be your husband, just say the word and I'm there. Ali Hahan as Alice Wu Gulliver, and Patti LuPone as Lila Calderu, and of course Deborah Rowe Rump as Mrs. Hart. Now, in the opening of the first episode of this series, we see Agatha, or Agnes as her character is known in this fictitious world she's living out in her mind. She's currently a true crime detective being called back out of suspension to help solve a crime scene that apparently we're collecting that's Wanda Maximoff, even though the last time we've seen her was in Multiverse of Madness, and possibly living as Mount Wundagore was collapsing in on itself. Her body appears to be in Westview. The hands are dark with the dark home magic she used. Same hoodie and everything she wore when she left. And in this fantasy world that she's living in, we see some of the old neighbors like Miss Hart and Herb that were in WandaVision as the neighbors in the television show that she was, and their real life neighbors. We see some of those characters in this episode too. One of the characters is her police chief. Another is her partner, right? One is a librarian. And so she's doing all the over-the-top tropes that you would expect a police officer in a true crime story be like. Hard-nosed and, where is he? Ah! Type of behavior. Real detectives would not be walking through crime scenes with coffee cups. All these things that come as a trope for those type of shows is how Catherine Hahn's character Agnes is living it up, right? And so in her investigation, she realizes that there's a library card in her person, tracks it down to Wanda Maximoff and taking out the Darkholme. And she realizes what finally snaps her out is that when Rhea Fidel comes and meets her, she's kind of helping break the illusion without necessarily saying that you're in an illusion. But she kind of helps Agatha kind of start looking at certain things. And then we see Joe Locke's character, again, entitled Teen. But we personally know it's going to be Willie. Oh, Willie. Oh, Billy, a.k.a. Wiccan. Now, we don't know exactly how he's come into this version of himself. But it's definitely has the look of Billy in the Young Avengers. And I have to correct myself. I know I did a couple of shorts. And in my short about Joe Locke's character, I called them both Billy and Tommy. He's Billy only. Tommy is his brother. However, and in the comic books, Billy's gay. He dates a character called the Hulkling, who's a Skrull. And so for people to be a little upset about that choice is silly. In my opinion, the character's already gay. There's been a history of him being established as gay. And as far as people being upset that Aubrey Plaza's character and Catherine Hahn's character may have a connection in the past romantically, I still don't find anything wrong with that because, not for nothing, these type of lifestyles have been lived for centuries, right? There's been these type of romantic entanglements since almost the beginning of time. At least starting in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that was many, many thousands of years ago. So for people to feel such a uptightness all the time about some of these characters and their lifestyle choices can get a little monotonous and tiring, especially when it's kind of part of the character who they are. We should be concentrating on whether this movie or show is well written and well acted. Now, as far as finally breaking out of the True Detective style scenario that she was living in, she again finally broke free of the spell because of Wanda's apparent passing. And now she realizes she's powerless and it needs a coven to help either zap her with power so she can steal that power, or use the coven to enter the Witch's Road, which is then if you complete that path, you get unlimited power. Now, as we've seen Rio and Agatha interact in episode 1, we do know that the Salem 7 is on their way to take Agatha out. Now, for some reason, they didn't really explain why Rio can't take out Agatha on her own. But what I'm going to assume at this point was because they were, and this is just a theory, it's only a theory. Sorry, Matt Pack. You're retired anyway. I think that because they were possibly romantically entangled before, that there's some sort of situation that will prevent them, like they took an oath, a magical oath that can't be broken on. That's why Rio can't take out Agatha and Agatha can't take out Rio. A little nitpick, when Agatha says, let me get my powers back and then we can fight. Well, if Rio can't kill you, what does it matter if you have powers or not? She can't kill you anyway. She's not allowed to. Little nitpick, though. Just a little nitpick. Oh, nitpick. So, basically, episode 2, when Agatha asks Teen, Joe Locke's character, his name, a wand in his signature, zips his mouth up. And when he was talking about his past, for some reason her hearing started tuning out and tuning in, ringing in the ears, which helped her not hear his past. But again, we know it's Billy, and we just have to wait to see how they go about this. Now, in order to have the Coven enter the Witch's Road, you need a bunch of different witches that are very close to each other or in such close proximity to each other that they feed off of each other in order to create the Witch's Road entrance. They did ask Mrs. Hart to help, and then, much like the Acolyte, we had a circle singing, chanting group of witches, giving all their all to open this road. I do like Deborah Rowe Rupp, Mrs. Hart sitting there and being like, am I supposed to know this song? Right? And Billy is upstairs trying to, with Senior Scratchy, trying to lock everything up because he sees that the Salem 7 is arriving at the house. We did get to see Rio Fidel fight a little bit against Agatha, and I thought that was an okay fight scene, I guess. I mean, this isn't going to really be a show that's hand-to-hand combat like that, like you would expect the Winter Soldier versus Steve Rogers type of fight. I'm thinking that as the episodes go on, the next 6 weeks, that we'll see more magic fights, and maybe I can personally learn a little bit more about witches and their history. Because I will admit, I'm not fully informed or knowledgeable about witches and their past, about certain things they can do in the Coven or not in the Coven, or any of these things that they're bringing in. I'm wholeheartedly not knowledgeable about it. I know how to talk. Do you know how to talk? I'm totally not knowledgeable about the history of witches. So if I bypass something or don't mention something, feel free down below to fill me in and the rest of the community in on if they're actually following that particular subsection of people, right? Because there's still witches that are out there today, and do spells and such like that. So I'm not sure if, again, this is authentic or not, so I can't really speak on that. But what I can speak on is that even though I felt like no one asked for this show specifically, I don't mind the beginning too much. There are going to be things that obviously I'm going to feel like maybe should have happened or not happened. Like for me, I get that maybe Westview wasn't the most rich neighborhood or anything like that and was so off the grid, so to speak, as a major place that's why Wanda picked Westview. And maybe the people couldn't move after what happened for whatever reason, but you would think that Sword would even relocate them knowing what happened there or something. I don't know. Again, another nitpick of mine, but we need the people there to help fill her fantasy up when she finally comes out of everything. So maybe with her gone, maybe Westview can finally be free of weird unsolved mysteries style stuff. Robert Stack's going to show up there one day and do a Unsolved Mysteries live at Westview or something. Yeah, so if you are someone who is not going to like this diversity cast or what Billy like if you're gonna be worried about the casting, then this show is definitely not going to be for you, and I wouldn't even bother watching it, to be honest with you. I am going to give this show a watch through. I'm still up in the air on whether I'm going to like this show or not. I more like it than not at the moment, even though I have my little nitpicks. But I think Aubrey Plaza is going to be fantastic in it. I think Catherine Hahn's going to bring it. At first, I was like, is she overacting a little bit as the cop? But then I realized that's what the cops in those shows do. They overact and everything. And so it's still, I have to try, remember that. She was living in a fantasy of a world of where she thought that's what cops acted like. I'm going to, I'm going to give this show a shot. That's my thoughts. I'm more liking it than not. I think the acting is going to be better than the writing. And I think that's what's going to wind up helping in this show more so than anything else. But that's my thoughts. Let me know down below what you think of Agatha episodes 1 and 2. And until next time, peace, Nookums.